Hi, my name is Joslin. I'm a full-time piano player, musician, composer, and filmographer. I started playing the piano when I was 4 years old, and when I was 5, my dad took me to formal piano lessons. And when I was 6 years old, I started playing in our church, and I've been playing every Sunday till this day at church. But growing up in the Middle East, I was exposed to a lot of indie music, Arabic music, while studying classical music. And I used to be in a few bands with my brother and with my friends in high school, and that exposed me to a lot of rock and roll and pop music at the time. And so I had a vast array of music growing up and learning. And then when I came to the United States, I discovered how to record back in 2002. And in about 2010, I actually started composing seriously and started sending a lot of my music to publishing libraries. Sometime around 2008, I had an idea while I was composing for TV and film. An idea came and took me in a different direction for a Christmas show. And it started with one song became two became four, and then I hit the brakes and I just stepped back and I looked and I said, wait a minute, there must be something over here. And so I decided to write a whole Christmas show based on the story of the Nativity. And it's called The King of the Nations. And basically it is the Nativity story, and it's a 2-hour concert series, and each song takes you through the story of each character in the story of the Nativity. Other than King of the Nations right now, I'm working on writing an instrumental album and trying to get my band to perform more and getting ready to perform with that album. And simultaneously, I'm also working on my YouTube channel and my Patreon page that will come out later in this fall. And what else? Writing also a lot of music for TV and film. So there's like 3 or 4 projects going on at the same time. The composition process can be very different for different people. If you are a songwriter and a lyricist, some people just write lyrics, some people just write music, and sometimes they collaborate and they put 2 and 2 together, and that's how they get songs. Composer also does a lot of what I like to say, he's like a mad scientist in a laboratory, and he takes one note from one instrument, mixes it with another note from another instrument, puts a bunch of lines of music for one instrument, then puts it on top of another instrument and see how it fits. If it fits, and then you see, look, what kind of emotion does it emote? And so eventually that's the goal of a composer, is to portray and speak that emotion, but through music, without words. And if you have communicated that emotion through film or through music that enhances the film at the time, then you have done your job. And that's why one of the biggest and one of my favorite composers is Hans Zimmer, because I think for all of his music, all of the movies that he has worked on, he has done a phenomenal job in speaking the emotion or speaking the story through the music without even saying the words. I mean, if you take out all the music from the movie, it just wouldn't be the same. When I was writing King of the Nations, for example, I wrote a song called This Is My Son, and I just had 4 notes in my mind. It was like, da 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 da, and it said, this is my son, and that's all I had. And I knew I wanted to write something based on those 4 notes, and sure enough, I went back home and I put it down, and within a couple of days, it actually grew into a whole song. And sometimes you can hear the whole song in your head. Sometimes it comes like a flood. Sometimes it takes a long time for a song to come. So it depends, but some of the most famous songs that are out there have been written very quick. Ever since I was 4, music has been my life. When I was growing up, my life was school, church, and music, but the common thread between all of them was music. And when I was in school, everybody knew me as a piano player, and you know, all the teachers knew me as the little kid who plays piano. And then when I was at church, I was the kid who played behind the organ or behind the piano. And so when I was at home, I was always practicing. So there wasn't any much time to go to parties or movies. I was never a Boy Scout, so I don't know what that was. I did have friends to play with, you know, sports and stuff, but I never was in any tournaments because music was my life and that's all I did. And so yeah, I'm very thankful for it.